This is Greece's largest airbase. The 70 fighter jets stationed here are on constant alert to intercept threats over the increasingly contested eastern Mediterranean Sea.
This jet's going off to intercept a Turkish jet which is intruding into Greek airspace. The officers here say this happens every day.
What's stoking tensions between these two NATO allies is the discovery of energy reserves off the coasts of Cyprus, Israel and Egypt. Turkey has occupied the northern half of Cyprus since 1974 and claims it has the right to search for oil in Cyprus's waters. Turkey has also long disputed Greece's eastern borders.
Almost for 30 years in the Aegean Sea, we have to deal with our neighbors by ourselves.
I mean, is that frustrating? I mean, the neighbour is also a NATO ally.
Yes, but it's our neighbor. We have to deal with him. In any way, we provide them training over the Aegean Sea.
You know, Greece has suffered a lot from the financial crisis. It must place a huge financial burden on the country, being in state of readiness.
But the defense of the country always goes first. We cannot go back on the not spending money in our defense. It's our first one priority.
If operational, pipelines coming from here would lessen Europe's dependence on Russian oil and gas.
Yunanları dökeceğim denize. Evet.
Under the divisive rule of President Erdogan, Turkey has already begun drilling illegally. Now the EU has issued sanctions against Turkey, and Greek, Cypriot, Israeli and Egyptian forces are conducting joint drills to enhance their new alliance, which is strongly supported by the US. Nikos Panayotopoulos was appointed as Greece's defence minister in July. He is not hesitant to accuse Turkey of inflaming regional tensions. Greece is committed to defending Cyprus. Can you talk about the growing tensions there?
Well, unfortunately, Turkey is conducting illegal drilling activities within the exclusive economic zone of Cyprus, which I remind you is the exclusive economic zone of a member of the European Union. And coupled with the very aggressive rhetoric that Turkey uses, it's a source of concern.
You're talking about aggressive Turkish rhetoric. Could you give us an example?
Whenever a top official from Turkey makes a statement, it's a statement that involves talk of war. War in Syria, war in the Middle East, war in the Euphrates region, war in the West, war in the East, war in the Aegean. Now, if that is not aggressive rhetoric, then I'm wondering what type of rhetoric it is.
Are you satisfied with the response to these provocations from your international allies?
Well, not entirely. I will be satisfied once this type of behavior ceases to exist and Turkey once again starts to respect international law and respect its allies within the NATO organization. We are allies with Turkey, in theory at least.
Greece and Cyprus are not the only neighbours Turkey is unsettling. To the east, it is also threatening to invade eastern Syria to attack the SDF, America's allies on the ground in the war against ISIS. Last month, the United States forced Turkey out of the advanced F-35 fighter jet program as a consequence of Erdogan's purchase of Russian S-400 surface-to-air missiles. Jeffrey Pyatt is the United States ambassador to Greece and a key promoter of the new alliances in the Eastern Mediterranean.
The Eastern Mediterranean for many years was taken for granted, but today it's a region which is in play. We see Russia playing a more prominent role, of course, in Syria. China is asserting itself. Iran is present. These are all rivals challenging the order that the United States has tried to support in Europe and around the world. So we're working with our democratic partners, countries that share our values, that share our interests, And on energy issues, countries that strongly support the vision of enhancing diversification of routes and sources and helping to reinforce European energy security.
It's very difficult to divorce this growing relationship from the broader context of America's increasingly frayed relationship with Turkey. How do you see the role of Turkey in the Eastern Mediterranean?
So I'll let my colleague, Ambassador Satterfield in Ankara, speak to the question of U.S.-Turkey relations, which, as you note, are going through a difficult phase right now. I think the really important aspect of the Greek-U.S. piece of this is, first of all, that Greece and the United States share a strong interest in doing everything possible to see that Turkey remains anchored in Western institutions. There's probably no other NATO ally that is as strongly aligned with the United States as Greece is on this question.
Yesterday, we were with the Greek Air Force, and they had to scramble jets to respond to a Turkish aerial incursion into Greece.
I've seen the same thing.
That's obviously a dysfunctional relationship within NATO.
I do not believe that Turkey is planning aggression against its NATO ally and neighbor Greece anytime soon. But there's always a risk when you have these military systems operating in close proximity that there could be an accident. It's a statistical inevitability that as long as you have these operations happening, there will be accidents and people will get hurt and sometimes die. So everybody has an interest in de-escalating, getting to something that looks more like a normal alliance, neighborly relationship. That's our objective.